messing around with this ASG, trying to get everything bolted up in place somewhat. Now, I am no expert on this engineering. I did speak to Peter on the phone this morning, and he did validate one thing for me. And that was that I needed to cut this piece off of this bar. And the reason for that is that this piece is designed for the SN95 and will slip over the top of your frame rail in the front here. The problem with the Fox is that the bump stop mount is in the way and won't allow for this guy to slip over. So what they did for Fox body applications is they welded that big nut right onto the frame, and they cut that section out, drilled a hole, and mount the top part of this bar right up into that nut. Now, I'm going to try and probably end up heating this up, bending this down a little bit more, just so that we have a flatter surface. I'm going to have to repaint this bar. That's no big deal though. So you can see it runs over here and then connects through this big long bolt in the center. Again, everything here is loosely bolted in, and there is a mad science to how these ASGs work. I know that this bespoke bushing that's in the centerpiece here is plays a critical role in things, and I believe when there's full load on the car, you want this straight. Everything's going to be bolted up loosely in place, but I am going to wait until I can have Peter here and he can dial this thing in. Of course, we still need the conies to show up. I sent him a picture last night, actually, of this piece up in that frame rail. And when I spoke to him on the phone this morning, he said, "What shocks are in that car?" I'm like, "They're just the placeholders until the conies come in." So the ASG, as you can see, has no other effects on any of the rest of the suspension in the car. So by having this loosely bolted in, it's not going to have any other impacts on anything else. And that was one thing that Dutch always strive for, is that if there is a point of failure, you know, you're still able to keep running and driving down the road or racing on the racetrack. So I'm going to get this last bar hooked up here. Again, just making sure that I have all the hardware and everything is kind of in place is the key. Spent a lot of time looking for stuff, researching, looking at pictures, and it was a picture that I had found from 3 years ago when I went to visit a gentleman who had one of these in his Fox body, where I saw how that was mounted, and just wanted to get the validation from Peter. So again, it's kind of unfortunate that I had to cut this piece, but I don't have any SN95 cars that merit this other than my 96 already has this installed. So this piece will, I guess, stay with the parts bin of the car, just so it's there. Funny enough is this car had an ASG in it before. Why did it come with this piece and not the one that would have been installed, right? So I'm told that the shop where this car went and was doing work and removed the ASG, the one that had broke, had an extra part laying around, and maybe it's that bar. So maybe I will luck out. I need to go through some posts on Instagram and see if I can find that. Finally got my new locking ring and the little rubber gasket needed to get this pump into the tank. Now, I did upgrade the pump. This is an Aeromotive 320, I believe. I'll have to double check that. You can get these pumps off Amazon for a pretty good price. In fact, it's the same pump that I run in my boosted M5, and it fits in the factory pickup without an issue. So if you guys are looking for an affordable upgrade, I would recommend this one. So I'm going to go ahead, fish this down into the tank, get that locking ring on, plug in the wiring harness clip, and the tank is going to be ready for install. All right, so I'm wanting to put the tank in. I got my straps that are all painted and cleaned up, ready to go. And realize this ASG is very close to the tank. So close, in fact, I'm not going to be able to pull the straps down around the normal way and bolt them up. So I'm actually going to try and see if I can get the tank up in place and put the straps on after. If not, I'm going to have to drop this down, which I don't want to do, but I think it would just kind of be a good process to go through to see if I can make it work, just in case I do have to do something tank related or anything else. So that is going to be, I guess, our little project for now, and we'll see if we'll be successful.
Run over Fords.
This is just gonna go all over.
Depends how much you need, okay? You could have a zip tie in hand.
Front to back.
You just pull it out that way even. That would work.
Just be patient with it.
Yeah. Just treat it like Brittany. Be patient with it. Caress it. Just take your time. Don't be like a bottle rocket.
Same system that we typically run. That is nylon lines, 3/8. So just putting on the factory rubber sleeves that your stock Fox would have, and sliding on 2 clamps. Oh, nice. Go. Next morning here at the shop, guys, and in all honesty, this project's starting to run me down a little bit. You know, not because it's too much work or too much involved, but just because there's so much else going on in my life right now. Trying to get things packed up, ready for Foxtoberfest. I'll be heading down to Texas for a few months, and you know, you're just trying to wrap up loose ends in every way, shape, and form. It's the end of summer. Well, you know, pretty much the end of fall now. So I've been trying to get things wrapped up, like vehicles, get these ready to go into storage. Same thing with my bike. So I'm sure any of you guys out there with a fairly busy life understand where I'm coming from. With that said, we are almost in the home stretch of this thing. Unfortunately, I talked to Peter. There's no way these conies are going to show up before I leave. So there's a few things that are going to be left in limbo on this car. The main thing is if I can get it started up and running, that would be a huge win. And, you know, obviously I'm going to have to get stuff like the exhaust finished up, and the conies are going to have to get installed. The ASG is going to have to get all set up, and, you know, all the gremlins and everything worked out. So the biggest thing right now is finishing up this fuel system, which I've got the last part that I need in this pack here. All the nylon has been run, so I just need this, and this is a connector that goes onto the nylon and then will clip into the factory return line that goes back into the tank. So once that's on, we'll be able to test the fuel system. You know, I've put oil in the motor and everything else is pretty much good to go. I'm missing one relay for the wide open throttle, which really isn't the end of the world. There's, well, enough Mustangs around here I can borrow one off of if need be. And brakes is going to be the last thing that I've just kind of been leaving towards the end. And normally, you know, brakes shouldn't be that big of a deal, but I need to run new lines everywhere just because these lines were pretty corroded. I didn't like the way all the fittings were done off the master cylinder. So we need to get all those cleaned up and new lines run. So if we can get some brakes, that would be even better. But we'll see, because I am genuinely running out of time. I have maybe a day and a half worth of usable working time to try and get this thing wrapped up. Not to mention, I'd like to get the gauges in the center vent installed and just have the rest of the interior buttoned up. So enough talking, let's get doing. So we can see up in here, this is where the nylon line comes up. Here's the return line. So I just need to press this fitting into here and we'll be able to get that guy sorted out. Fuel filter, all that is already run. And then you can see we got our lines run all the way down, pretty much factory style locations, all the way up and around. And up over here, down, and again, maintaining factory style connectors. So everything is good. I still need to put a few clamps on. The main fuel line clamp that comes off the cylinder head, that needs to be bolted up, but otherwise we're in pretty good shape. Don't mind the battery terminals. Battery is backwards. I'll get that sorted out. So I didn't hear a fuel pump kicking on. So let's test or check all the obvious. That guy might have been reset. Power going to the inertia switch, and there is. Might have a relay issue. There we go. That was an easy fix. All right, guys, just had some lunch, so moment of truth. Let's hit that key and see what happens. All right, guys, motor runs. Definitely feel like we're gonna have to adjust some timing, but actually wasn't too bad, all considering. Starter solenoid needs to be changed. Clearly, we have an issue there. The starter does sound a little weird, but it works. So we'll roll with that for now. Probably gonna have to back down this cooling system and get the rad and everything filled up. Brakes are now the challenge or the priority of trying to get done. You can see got some line here, a bunch of fittings. Shop Dad Dale has been helping me out with this. He does really nice brake line work. And sometimes, you know, you just got to let the experts do what they're good at. And could I get it done? Yes, I could. But you know what? He's here, he's experienced, and I'm sure the end result is going to be phenomenal. So we've gone through, and there's little bits like these Willwood, what look like to be couplers, but these, I'm assuming they do like a preload because they're rated at 2 psi. So probably make sure that you maintain good pressure in your brake pedal for your braking system. So trying to get all those plumbed in. Got the calipers, rotors are already showing a lot of surface rust there, but that's what happens when you're not driving your car. You peek down here, don't mind the connector. This is the factory low brake fluid sensor. So that's not going to be getting plugged in. You can see off the master here, here's one of the lines. So that's going to one of those Willwood couplers / regulators, and piece of line. And we've got the one going down to the driver's side caliper, and the other one's going to get bent up and brought underneath this lip and down across over to the passenger side. You can see here as well. So these old Willwood calipers, they come with a braided line that's probably 2 times longer than what you need. And because everything's been changed up on this, I've actually just changed and put the fitting here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the passenger side. Really makes no sense to try and loop it up here on the factory location and everything else when this keeps things nice and simple and clean. Impromptu video because I don't have much time left before I depart. So this is going to be the semi-reveal of the Detch No. 5 projects.